Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and with the recent Warcraft Direct celebrating 30 years of Warcraft, 20 years of World of Warcraft, we got a ton of new updates regarding some of the content and features arriving in the future for this expansion, whether it is War Within, but also regarding the overarching plot of the World Soul Saga. And with all that also came a brand new roadmap for the year of 2025, giving us a glimpse at all of the different things we can expect out of the War Within expansion, from new seasonal updates as well as other smaller content patches and changes. And as we get on into the year, as we start to see some of these updates hitting the PTR realms, we'll get a much better idea as to what these updates look like and just how much content they are looking to bring. But so far, at least on paper, it does seem the War Within expansion should have a fairly exciting 2025. So for today's video, I wanted to highlight everything that you can expect out of the War Within expansion, at least for this upcoming year. As always, if you guys want to see more regular updates for any of these future patches for the War Within expansion, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. So starting off in this map in a chronological order, in just a little bit of time, specifically on December 17th, we'll be getting the patch 1107 of the Siren Isle. As the Siren Isle will serve as pretty much a catch-up island where you can gear out all of your alts with some warbound gear, which means you can buy that gear on your main and outfit your alts with all those items. You also will be able to collect a very powerful ring for seasonal endgame push content, whether it is Mythic Plus or rating progression, in order to finish out some of the seasonal updates. You also will be able to collect a bunch of mounts as well as a variety of different transmog collectibles on the Siren Isle as well, so there's plenty more for players to look forward to, together with some brand new story quests that will tie in into the next update, but also Turbulent Timeways, which offers giga juiced up version of not only leveling, but also more catch-up gear and even more unique rewards for you to collect as well. In between of the patch 1107 and 11.1 will be Plunderstorm making a return, and it'll be basically kind of like a battle royale for World of Warcraft. If you've never played Plunderstorm in the past though, now would be the best time to jump into it in 1107. It's actually surprisingly a fun mode, as it's basically like a battle royale. You drop in, slay enemies, slay rares, creatures, collect abilities, collect plunder that you can then use in order to buy items in the plunder store, in order to buy cosmetics for transmog, mounts, as well as other variety of different collectibles for you to obtain. But also it's fantastic when it comes to doing something different in WoW, and the way that you play Plunderstorm is nothing like you would have like in current WoW within dungeons, raids, or PvP. It's just a different kind of a game, but just as fun and a surprisingly refreshing experience that a lot of players enjoyed way back in the day. After Plunderstorm, we'll have the patch 11.1 of Undermine, which we recently covered on the channel, where we get the brand new zone of the Undermine, Season 2 content, which means a new raid, a Mythic Plus dungeon rotation, and a pretty massive PvP update, together with the new dungeon of Operation Floodgate, which isn't a mega dungeon like we've had in the past expansions, but a normal 4 or 5 boss dungeon. We'll find out more once it hits PTR realms. You also got a brand new form of transportation called Derive, or DRIVE, which is a new form of ground movement within the zone of Undermine, which looks fairly exciting on paper. We also got a brand new Delve and a Goblin Cartel Renown track to get around with, but also Warband UI updates like Warband Camp Collections, which will likely mean we can customize the backdrop for our Warband favorite screens. Afterwards will be the patch 11.1.5, which brings in new content called Nightfall. We have no idea what this content is going to be though, and we'll only know some more info once 11.1 is either live or at least by the time it hits PTR realms. I'm guessing it's going to be more open world content, very similar to what we had in Dragonflight, which continue to add more open world opportunities, whether it is the Time Rift, Senthal Drazes, or potentially similar to Dragonflight's Dream Surge invasions, but it'll likely, I'm guessing at least, will be some sort of open world activity, or potentially something you'll be able to queue for instead. Speaking of queued content, we'll also be getting a refresher, or rather a revisit, on Horrific Visions, a unique piece of content that was available during the final update of Battle for Azeroth. The best way to describe Horrific Visions, they're kind of like a blend between delves, but maybe also a little bit of Torghast from Shadowlands. Every time you enter a Horrific Vision, you're going into a corrupted version of a vision of N'Zoth, of either a corrupted Orgrimmar or Stormwind. And inside a Horrific Vision, you are fighting against not a timer, but rather your insanity bar, as enemies within these Horrific Visions and even certain zones and affixes can actually reduce that insanity bar. However, if you're able to manage that bar well enough, you can actually explore further into Horrific Visions, into some of the more darker, deeper corners of it in order to fight mini bosses collect a variety of other rewards, even unlock new affixes to make your next run a little bit harder, and you can collect things like enchants, mounts, as well as pets and other cosmetics. It's interesting to see that they're bringing back horrific visions, because playing back in BFA, I didn't necessarily enjoy them, probably because they were really grindy, because you had to do them in order to upgrade your legendary cloak during that update. And if you played a lot of vaults, there was a lot of visions you had to run through weekly just to upgrade your cloak. But after some time has passed, and I revisited them recently when taking a look at some of the previous expansion content, so I'm interested to see how they're going to be able to revisit them and what the reception from the community is going to be. Besides Visions, we also do have Children's Week update, which is even more holiday refresher planned for the patch 11.15. Afterwards is the patch 11.17, which adds in even more story questlines, likely ahead of Season 3 content, as well as new content and system updates, though no details have been given just yet, but also another planned turbulent timeways, which means even more catch-up is planned ahead of Season 3, with yet another opportunity to level up some ults, but also gearing them out ahead of brand new seasonal content. From here on, however, the details regarding the future content isn't really all that clear just yet, though the clarity will become a little bit more noticeable as we get through into the year. But patch 11.2 is going to have all of the regular seasonal content you can expect from a season in World of Warcraft, from a brand new zone which has been recently confirmed by the devs. Yes, we are getting a brand new zone. There's a bit of confusion with that specifically, but we also get new open world content. We also get Season 3 updates with a new raid, Mythic Plus dungeon rotation, and a PvP update, new open world challenges, which makes you wonder what that could potentially be, but also warband updates, Brewfest holiday updates, seasonal reward refresh, and more. Shortly after 11.2, we'll actually be getting a bit more information regarding the next expansion of World of Warcraft as part of the World Cell Saga of World of Warcraft Midnight, with a big announcement reveal planned for the summer. So far, very little is known about Midnight, except for the fact that player housing is apparently meant to arrive with the Midnight expansion, which is incredibly exciting and something the community has dreamed about for a very, very long time. And it's also possible we potentially may be getting an early preview, like possibly an alpha for Midnight, that will have more information as the year goes on. Afterwards, we have patches like 11.25, which brings even more content and system updates, as well as WoW's 21st anniversary update. Patch 11.27 is going to bring in even more story quests, new content, and system updates. And then from there, we get into a bit more of a mystery ground with a cryptic icon, but also a green winter backdrop. Except that cryptic icon has been changed as of recently, and I had to go back to edit this part out of the video because I was basically done, ready to go, ready to upload, and then they changed the last second. Initially, it looked like some kind of like a rune or a glyph that maybe was like, you know, related to old orc tribes and some kind of like a mystery language, or maybe some kind of an ogre icon, like a rune or something. So people thought maybe it's Warlords of Draenor remix, but it looks like that's more or less when we'll be getting the housing update for World of Warcraft. Potentially, maybe this will be when the pre-patch for Midnight potentially might be coming out. However, keen observers have also noted that compared to the rest of the map, the backdrop for all of the different seasons is one similar color except for the tail end, which is instead very, very green. Characteristically fell green, in fact, compared to the rest of the line, which is very obviously yellow. And this transition from this Warcraft gold to this fell green makes you think that maybe instead of Warlords of Draenor remix, potentially Legion remix is on the horizon. I definitely would be very, very excited to see what kind of a remix experience they could do with it, especially with Legion having so many different class legendaries that we could obtain back in the day. So instead of doing like a gem system they did for Miss Pandaria, they could do a legendary system where you get to outfit your character with every single item in your slots in legendaries, which I think would be really, really exciting and a unique experience as well. Though, like with all the other updates on this map, only time will tell and give us more information, and we'll definitely keep you guys updated as soon as we know anything new here on this channel. But as always though, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys did enjoy this update video. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like. I would very, very much appreciate it. If you want to keep up with all the regular happenings for future updates for the War Within expansion, be sure to join our Discord community where we regularly post everything regarding all the new updates. Also, it's a great place to get some of the guides for some of these future updates. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.